So, Dr. Forman, you just had your COVID vaccine. Was it today?
I had it last night.
Okay, and tell me why you decided to get the COVID vaccine and how you feel now.
So I feel really hopeful having gotten the COVID vaccine. I'm hopeful that this is going to help us get back to normal. This is going to help our community stay safer. This is going to help both our patients and our staff move forward through this pandemic and come out the other end of it. I initially didn't know if I would take the vaccine or not. I thought a lot about it. I looked at all the research I could get my hands on. I wanted to be sure that it was safe. And at the end of the day, I was convinced that it was safe. I also think this is the best chance that we have to end the pandemic at this point, outside of social distancing and masks and staying home and staying safe and doing all the things that we've been doing all along. I think this is our best shot. And I think who better to take it first than healthcare workers who've been on the front lines with this.
Did it hurt?
No, Sue Moore gave it to me and it actually didn't hurt at all. It was over before I even knew it was happening.
Have you had any side effects?
I feel a tiny bit sore in my arm so far, but knock on wood, I felt otherwise absolutely fine. And that's been the experience of everybody else I've talked to who's had it done as well.
What advice would you give to someone who's on the fence about getting it or not?
I mean, I think it's important to understand. It's important to get the answers to all of your questions. If you're on the fence about getting it or not, look at the research, look at the data, or ask questions of people who have looked at the research and the data to understand it. I think, some people do have suspicions around vaccines in general. This is a different kind of vaccine than we've seen before. It hasn't been around a long time, but there's a lot of really good evidence on it. So I think, make sure that you understand the basis for your concerns and your questions. If there's a scientific basis for your concern and hesitation, fine. But if it's just uneasiness about the idea of it, I would urge everybody to get all of your questions answered about it. Anyone who's come to me with questions and concerns about it, I've been happy to answer all of those. And I think, the medical staff is willing to talk to folks about this because it's really important to us that people do get vaccinated, but we want people to do it understanding exactly what it is that they're doing.
Can you give us some insight into, who's being vaccinated first? We know frontline healthcare workers, some leadership in healthcare, but when will it get to the public?
So I don't have an answer about when it will get to the public. We've really prioritized getting frontline healthcare workers, those who are taking care of patients with COVID every day. We've prioritized getting them vaccinated first, which makes the most sense in terms of minimizing the spread and protecting those who are on the front lines of this. I know there's been a lot of work around pushing out production as quickly as we safely can. So I'm hopeful that we will have it to the public, relatively soon, but I don't have a timeline for that. I do know that people across the hospital have stepped up. There was a call last night to see if any of the physicians would be willing to volunteer to help vaccinate, which isn't something we typically do, but to help so that we could get people vaccinated faster. And every single physician who was asked volunteered to come forward and give shots. People volunteered to come in on Christmas, on overnight shifts, anytime at all, so that we can vaccinate people as quickly as possible. So there's a lot of support for doing this in the community and for doing it as quickly as we possibly can. I know I would happily be out there vaccinating the public as soon as the vaccine's available.
What sort of feedback have you had from people in the healthcare industry and even the public?
Oh, people have been literally dancing after getting the vaccine. People have been so happy. I sent the picture of myself getting vaccinated to my family and friends, and a lot of them cried. I think we're all really hopeful that this is going to help us end the pandemic.